COVID-19 SOPs, Ziwa escalates security at controversial Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. This and more stories coming up now. Let's take a look at our headlines today. In our top stories of the day, public advice to maintain COVID-19 SOPs. Still to come in Ubc News Tonight, Ziwa escalates security at controversial Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. New record deaths as virus engulfs India. And in our sports stories, Daniel Mwesiwe beats others, promises not to rest on his laurels. Good evening and welcome to Ubc News Tonight. My name is Sharon with Mugalu Mohammed on sign language. In our top stories of the day, government has warned that it will not hesitate to reintroduce another lockdown to prevent a likelihood of another COVID-19 lockdown spike. The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Judith Kagwa, says government has directed all district COVID-19 task forces and security agencies to resume their operations and save the country from a worse situation. Details further.
All those who have been called up for vaccination should immediately go and get the vaccine.
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Judith Kagwa, has said that if Ugandans continue being relaxed on observing SOPs, government will not hesitate to institute another lockdown.
If we relax and things go astray, infections increase, who knows? Some other restrictions may be reinstated. But as of now, we want everyone to be on alert and know that this is a serious matter which needs urgent attention, and it is everyone's responsibility such that we are not taken up.
Kagwa advises that COVID-19 task forces and security agencies are being advised to step up their operations, especially against those that are not observing the standard operating procedures.
Let the district task forces also begin sensitizing the communities. Let the LCs also begin reawakening the communities on the best standard operating procedures in order for everybody to be brought on board and we fight COVID-19 together.
The minister also announced that a 2-week retreat for public communication officers from government agencies has been organized at Kyankwanzi starting from 16th May 2021.
At the National Leadership Institute in Kyankwanzi, with the intention of strengthening the government communications function through sharing of knowledge, but also imparting of practical skills. So all MDAs are reminded to prepare and also release the concerned officers to attend the planned retreat.
The minister also said that as the media fraternity heads for the commemoration of the International Press Freedom Day this Monday, 3rd May 2021, government continues to associate itself with the protection and support of the media.
I want to thank the media in Uganda for the job well done. For example, the media has been very crucial in the fight of the COVID-19 pandemic and also in the just concluded elections. Remember, we had a scientific election. In the course of this week, some of the journalists have come under attack for many different reasons. However, as government of Uganda, the occasional challenges, all incidents should not override the existing goodwill and support towards the media industry in Uganda. I therefore want to inform all media practitioners that your safety and freedoms are guaranteed by the government of Uganda.
This year's World Press Freedom Day will be marked under the theme Information as a Public Good, as a salute to the role played by media. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Kampala.
Thank you, Robert Onyango. Uganda Wildlife Authority has tightened the security and taken full charge of rhinos at Ziwa Sanctuary in Nakasongola district in order to secure the rhinos at the sanctuary. The closure was triggered by the persistent misunderstanding between Ziwa Rhino and wildlife ranchers. Now, the measure OWA took is in line with Uganda Wildlife Authority mandate of protecting wildlife resources in Uganda as per Uganda Wildlife Act 2019. Abigaba reports.
Uganda Wildlife Authority has increased and tightened the security at Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary after closing it from the public, and no tourism activity is to be undertaken until further notice. It should be noted that the tight security and the closure was triggered by the persistent and misunderstanding between Ziwa Rhino and wildlife ranchers, the owners of the land where the rhinos are being bred, and the Rhino Fund Uganda, an NGO that has been managing the rhinos at the sanctuary since 2005. Uganda Wildlife Authority swung into action to avert the threat after realizing the conflict could compromise the safety of the rhinos as government engaged the parties to find a lasting solution.
Us, as UWA, we realized that the rhinos are going to be endangered. We couldn't be very sure of their safety. So we came in and completely took over the security. But later on realized that if we are to take over security and allow the other operations to continue, tourism activities to continue, we would not offer this security effectively. So we decided to completely take over the rhino sanctuary and also close it to the public. So that is where we are right now. The public is not allowed here inside, but this is a temporary measure to ensure that we get a permanent solution to the challenges that we are having.
The communications manager at Uganda Wildlife Authority, Bashir Hanji, revealed that they undertook a feasibility study for reintroducing rhinos back in the wild, and some sites were recommended.
Actually, the results are very clear. It recommended the introduction of the rhinos. It recommended some sites. One of the sites that was recommended is Kidepo Valley National Park, Makshon Falls National Park, and Ajai Wildlife Reserve. All these can accommodate rhinos.
To translocate rhinos is sensitive activity that needs proper planning, scientific with a lot of protocol, but above all a very expensive venture.
To start even thinking of reintroducing the rhinos, even when you have a feasibility study in place, there are a number of things we need to do. One, we need to have adequate resources. Now, resources, and if I can give you the recommendation of the study, it's recommended that to translocate between 30 and 50 rhinos, you need over $13 million US. Such a massive project. It is not something you can do quickly. Even if we were to reintroduce the ones here to the wild, you need serious resources because you have to do an environmental impact assessment, you have to ensure you offer security. The security for rhinos, as you have seen for yourselves, it's not like the security for any other wildlife.
Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary was established in 2005 to further the longevity of the conservation of the white rhinos in the country after the last rhino was killed in Makshon Falls National Park in 1983. Zahra Abigaba, UBC.
The over 17 years the Lord's Resistance Army war in northern Uganda left many individuals and families in trauma. The atrocities by the LRA soldiers left several war survivors with scars of death while living helpless lives with infections and less access to adequate treatment. We have a detailed report on this story.
The over 17 years of Joseph Kony's insurgency in northern Uganda that was characterized by torture, abduction and sexual abuse left many war survivors living a horrifying and meaningless livelihood. Mowaka David, 45 years, a resident of Okwil Village, Anaka Town Council in Noya District, was abducted by the LRA rebels in 1995. He is one of such victims who live horrible lives with no access to adequate health services. Mowaka, a parent of 5 children, is suffering from severe keloids after sustaining injuries of torture by the Kony rebels. He was abandoned by his wife, who divorced as his health conditions kept worsening. Most of the patients need specialized medication that is not always readily available in most government facilities. And this calls for partnership with other development partners, as the Lira Hospital principal anesthetic Officer Dr. Okello Alex explains.
There are some drugs again we call muscle relaxants. Because when we're having a major abdominal operation, we need to relax the muscle very well to give the surgeon a very good feeling of operation. But they're also expensive and it's not being supplied.
But thanks to Family Health Rights International that is providing physical and psychosocial rehabilitation to LRA war survivors. 2 surgical camps have been organized at Lira Regional Hospital and Anaka Hospital to provide integrated psychosocial supported surgical operations to the victims of the war.
Reconstructive surgeries find that many people are living with a lot of pain around different parts of their bodies. Others are living with pieces of bullets into their bodies. Others are having gynecological issues still originating from the effects coming from the war. Others are having general, of course, orthopedic needs. Others gyne needs. Others plastic surgery needs. Others multifoliant. So there are different kinds of needs. So this reconstructive surgeries, physical rehabilitation, is to bring back the physical appearance of somebody, bring back the normal life to someone to live a normal life. You can imagine.
Several women who suffered sexual abuse, including rape and defilement, developed health complications that they have been living with all the years. A gynecologist at Lira Referral Hospital, Dr. Andrew Adur, says many of the women, war survivors, have suffered from infections, including HIV and AIDS, STDs and fistula, resulting into increased gender violence in the region.
We have been able to see a lot of interesting cases, which without the support would have been difficult to support them. One of them is women who have had terrible perennial injuries, and right now they can't control their urine, they can't control their fecal matter, and they're passing urine and feces just like that. And this has affected their livelihood. Others have had separation with their families because of this complication. But through this support, we have been able to repair their perineum, and we have restored the function of those very important organs. We have also
Now, what started as a project to support women groups is steadily turning into an income-generating activity for State Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Peter Ogwang. Minister Ogwang, who spends most of his time of politics at his farm in Katakwi, says he's laying a strong foundation for his retirement, urging fellow leaders to follow President Museveni's initiative of commercial farming to fight poverty. Watch.
The 3-year-old farm for the State Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Peter Ogwang, is already bearing fruits.
No, the distance you give it.
With about 170 cows and 400 goats, Minister Ogwang says he started small, with an intention of fighting poverty among women and youth, many of whom have succeeded.
Because every village, my program was to give 10 goats for 10 women, which also give to another 10. So I had a total number of about 20 women per village, which have already benefited from this program to support them, and there are areas which I can confirm to you. Women have already bought cows out of this project.
Out of the 10 goats?
Out of the 10 goats we gave them, because once it produces, you give out to another woman. So
the Ngariam County MP says his love for commercial farming grew stronger when he visited President Museveni's farm in Kisozi, after which he bought 2 square miles of land to follow suit.
When I came back from Kisozi, the first thing I thought of buying was land, because I was a youth MP, and I bought this land here. At least I have land here, which is reasonably big. I have almost, between me and you, I only have almost here, which I've already fenced about 2 square miles. But outside that, I have over 5, 6, 7 square miles of land.
On the same piece of land is a system to solve water challenges in the dry season, established with the help of the Minister of Water and Environment. despite losing 170 cows last year due to contaminated water. Ogwang says he's able to get 50 liters of milk per day.
But my plan was to concentrate more on beef. However, there's more money on milk. For instance, here, as of today, my people tell me I get about 50 liters of milk per day. So that is money which now is helping me to manage the farm and pay the workers. But now you can imagine, and here a liter of milk here is 1,200. So that is almost an assured 1,000, about 50,000 shillings per day. So you can now imagine if I increase the total number of cows which are able to give me milk, I can make more money. So I want to confirm we have formed an association as Katakwi Local Breeders Association, which entirely is going to help us improve on our breed, both of the goats and the cows.
In simple mathematics, Minister Ogwang says in the near future he will be able to earn 1.5 billion shillings per year from beef and millions from selling goats.
The cheapest I would sell a goat is 200,000. So if you imagine so far, you remove 2,000 minus 400 out of 1,400, about 1,700 goats. You multiply by 200,000. How much money is that? That's a lot of money. Come to cows. My plan now of cows is entirely, I want to stock here to have about 1,000 cows. 1,000 cows once I put in this land. I have water, I have land, I have pasture. I can guarantee you, I can be making almost. Honestly, I can afford to sell about 300 cows per year. 300 cows, if you put an estimate of about 2 million. The least, but the breed I have here, if they were here, if you could look at the small heifers, calves I have, I can guarantee you, once they grow, the least they can fetch is about 7 million, because it's a Boran, mix of Ankol and Boran. So that is good money for me. Now if you sell by 300 a year, how much is that? 300 times an estimate of 5 million. That gives you almost about 1.5 billion in a year. So this is the money, this is the message the president is telling us as a country to emulate. So I want really to call upon all my colleagues. We must be role models ourselves.
While inspecting ICT projects and installations in West Nile and northern Uganda recently, Minister Ogwang spared time to borrow a few tips from the presidential demonstration farm in Bararege, Arua district, as he plans to expand his farm.
I need to put up oranges. I'm going to put here oranges and cashew nuts. In front there I've planted some eucalyptus, but of course because the people burn grass, that's one challenge which is there. But like again what I saw there is poultry. Here also I'm going to put up a poultry unit here, and I want to confirm beginning of May I'll be able to come and concentrate and do that. I am going to make some fish ponds because this is also part of the advice. I want to confirm I am going to replicate at model farm there.
As he continues to fight household poverty among the people of Katakwi, the ICT minister urges fellow leaders to plan for retirement using the little savings to set up similar initiatives.
Actually, we political leaders were given a contract of 60 months. So there are two things which we must do. Number one, we must save. Number two, when we're in office, how do we plan to have projects which give us money? That's why now for me, this is already a plan for retirement. Because all I need now is to increase on my yields, to increase on my total numbers, both goats and cows. So for my colleagues, the president has been emphasizing and has been talking and giving information to the country on what needs to be done. So I really want to call upon, first of all, us to begin by having one concept, personal saving. Number two, look at the enterprises which make money for us, both when you're in office and when you've left office. That will help us to do better. The other one, of course, that deployment is not bad. It's all a prerogative depending on what the head of state says. I would encourage him to deploy them, but for me I want to encourage all of us now, both who have been re-elected, that we must begin to plan to save. Even me, what I've done here is out of my little savings I've been making, is what makes me buy land, throw in something here.
Ogwang, who boasts of being the best commercial farmer in Teso region, reminds the president to fulfill his pledge. Over 100 cows, he promised him to increase his stock.
In Teso here, I might say I might be the best. I don't think there's anyone among my colleagues who has such a farm of both cows and goats. I don't think so. And of course I want to encourage them. Let them feel free. They can come and see. For me now, I'm challenged. I want to restock. Because the president still has a pledge he gave me. If he gave me my cows, because for me now what I need is a stock.
How many are there?
He pledged me 100 cows. So for me now all I want is the stock. Infrastructure is ready. Everything is ready.
Minister Gwang says the people of Okulonyo sub-county in Katakwi are also waiting on the president to put up a demonstration farm in the sub-county to steer youth into commercial farming as a reward for giving him the highest number of votes in the entire Teso sub-region during the 2016 elections. It was their request in June 2019 when President Museveni camped in the region on wealth creation campaign.
The best polling station which voted him most in 2016 was Obulengoro. He came here. He promised to set up a model farm like what is in Arua. That is it. I want really to see that dream come true for the people of this area because it will give us encouragement. And by the way, I want to say this for my community. Our community here is a hard-working community. As of today, most of my neighbors here, there's no family here which doesn't have a cow. So the only thing now which we need to improve on is the breed. The other one is for the fulfillment of the compensation for the cows we lost to our uncles. The rest.
Bernard Higa, UBC News, Katakwi.
Indeed, it looks like he's set himself up for a very good retirement once he gets to that time. Congratulations to Minister Ogwang. In more stories, hundreds of mourners flocked in Nomutumba district this weekend for the burial of Josephine Kagwa, a mother to Dr. Peter Kagwa, a senior UBC staff. State Minister for Lands, who is also the Member of Parliament, Bukono County, Nomutumba district, Pastor Namuganza, was one of the mourners.
It has not been a pleasant week for Uganda Broadcasting Corporation following the loss of a senior staff member and the demise of a mother to one of the senior staff members. During the burial of Josephine Kagwa, the Minister of State for Lands, Pastor Namuganza, commended the children of the late Josephine for caring for her and building her a good home. Namuganza said children should complement government's efforts geared at making lives of the elderly better by building them good homes. Children and relatives of Josephine Kagwa said though they were sad for the demise of their mother, they were not mourning but rather celebrating her life.
Mwena mwenkirize tuyire mu okubasiima ab'ebitiibwa abali gano mwena banange tubabwaine muyikirize nti tubasiimye ebisobye mutusaasire yansitula mutakanswala eri abaana mulekere fuire nawoka nti maama twendobe waiti niife otusalawo ife tetuli kulobera era mu idwaliro tulina okola nze nasoma obyobusifu.
Our mother, we are celebrating and thanking God for having kept her up to today. She is not leaving any date because...
In his sermon, Reverend Father Peter Mubiru eulogized the late Josephine Kagwa as a woman of strong faith and a committed Christian. Reverend Mubiru asked the mourners to emulate the late Josephine for the parental role she did to her family.
Josephine yali kuja titwidinko dalina do datakolera bikolwa bya kisa ife byetusoloza wano mukolera mu ebikolwa ebyekisa.
The ceremony was attended by family, friends, UBC staff and representatives from ICT Ministry, among others. I'm Nafka Farida and Stephen Kalisia.
Well, we pray that the Lord strengthens the Kagwa family. In more news, the Muslim community in Uganda has been cautioned against living extravagantly. According to Dr. Abdul Hafiz Walusimbi, extravagancy is disapproved by the Islamic religion. Now, Dr. Hafiz was the keynote speaker at the annual iftar dinner organized by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, Insurance Training College and Africana Hotel, Kampala.
Fasting suppresses the habit of greed and replaces it with the virtue of sharing and benevolence in society. This is vital in fostering a harmonious and peaceful coexistence in society, argues Dr. Abdul Hafiz Walusimbi, a Muslim scholar.
The second sustainable goal is eradication of hunger. Part of the cause of hunger is extravagancy. As a matter of fact, when you look or when you move around some of the residential areas that are dominated by the affluent members of the society, you might not be surprised to find out that the dogs there, they look more healthier than many human beings in the same society.
Dr. Hafiz is, however, perturbed by the modern trends that approves and encourages materialism. He encourages Muslims in Uganda and across the globe to always help the poor and the underprivileged.
The moment we check our extravagancy, it means that we shall have a lot that we can extend to those who do not have access. And that is, by the way, another virtue of Islam, which is well laid down in Quran, Surah Al-Insan, where Allah says, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا.
This was at the annual iftar dinner organized by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, Insurance Training College and Africana Hotel. The event provided an ample opportunity for the insurance sector players to encourage those in attendance and the public to take up insurance policies and also highlight key sector developments such as the current status of Takaful insurance.
And the regulations and the regulatory regime is being worked on, and once the minister endorses and signs the regulations, we shall be all out to wait for anybody who is coming to open up the Takaful business in Uganda.
As the college, we embarked on the move to introduce Takaful insurance training as part of our professional course offerings.
The insurance regulator is confident that the introduction of Takaful and Re-Takaful will widen and deepen the insurance market and bolster penetration levels to the untapped targeted audience. Dennis Signola for UBC News.
Moving on from that, the Ministry of Health has clarified on the government's decision to upgrade all health 2s across the country to Health Center 3s. Minister of State for Health in charge of primary health care, Joyce Moriko, says that Health Center 3s offer more comprehensive services compared to Health Center 2s. We have a detailed report from Adia Nakuti.
Government recently made a decision to upgrade all Health Center 2s to Health Center 3s in phases. This financial year, 3,000 Health Center 2s have been approved to be upgraded to Health Center 3s. A Health Center 2 is found at a parish level and it runs an outpatient clinic treating common diseases like mild malaria and also offers basic antenatal services to expectant mothers. On the other hand, a Health Center 3 is found at sub-count level and is supposed to offer more comprehensive health services. Therefore, the question is, will Ugandans be served better with the upgrade from Center 2s to Health Center 3s?
Center 3 has got a comprehensive maternal child health services. We have antenatal care at Health Center 3. We have deliveries at Health Center 3. We have vaccinations at Health Center 3. And we have admissions. We can admit patients at Health Center 3. and other laboratory services at Health Center 3, and quite a number of comprehensive services taking place at Health Center 3. And the human resource at Health Center 3 is much higher than human resource at Health Center 2. Health Center 3, human resource goes up to 19 staff, and we have a clinical officer, we have the nurses, the midwife, the laboratory assistants, and many other pharmacists and many other staff. While in Health Center 2, Health Center 2 is basically preventive primary health care facility, just like Health Center 3. But Health Center 2 has only 9 staff, and it doesn't offer comprehensive maternal child health services. It doesn't deliver mothers.
But does government have any plans to address the issue of understaffing in such lower health units?
For the upgrade, certainly, it doesn't just go like that. Once we have upgraded from Health Center 2 to Health Center 3, we are also going to recruit the staff. Instead of 9, they have to be 19 as per the structure. Yes. It will be a full package for the people.
Another issue of concern which needs to be addressed as government implements the shift to Health Center 3s is lack of the required medical equipment.
But I know money has been put aside for construction and for buying the equipment.
If all the critical issues like understaffing and lack of medical equipment can be addressed in lower health units, then the upgrade to Health Center 3s will be a blessing to Ugandans in terms of getting better health services.
The Assistant Commissioner, Ministry of Education and Sports in charge of instruction materials, Simon Peter Otuke, has asked stakeholders in education to embrace the new O-level curriculum for better learning opportunities. Otuke was closing refresher training workshop for the rollout of lower secondary school in Nabingo Trinity College, which was aimed at preparing teachers for the rollout of the lower secondary curriculum.
A curriculum specialist for business education at the National Curriculum Development Center, NCDC, John Okum Emurut, says the education competence-based curriculum is the way to go for modern learners.
We need this new curriculum because we want to train learners who are creative, learners who are critical thinkers, who are problem solvers, because we live in problems and we need to have people who can solve these problems, and that is the epitome, that is the center of this curriculum.
Okumu says the new curriculum will assist learners change the method of knowledge uptake through acquiring hands-on skills.
We need this new curriculum because we want to train learners who are creative, learners who are critical thinkers, who are problem solvers, because we live in problems and we need to have people who can solve these problems, and that is the epitome, that is the center of this curriculum.
The Deputy Director, NCDC, Bernadette Nambi Karuhanga, says through this new learning system they will be able to produce innovative students at an early age.
They will be able to discover by themselves. They will be able to create their own knowledge, and so in so doing they will be able to apply and become innovative and creative, as opposed to a situation where we have been just giving knowledge to these children.
She encouraged the stakeholders to embrace this new curriculum to help government achieve its objective, educating Ugandans.
We know that there are many stakeholders, the teachers, the district education officers, the local government officials, the inspectors of schools, the parents, the communities, and anybody else who has a child or who plans to have a child or has a grandchild to embrace this new curriculum, because we believe that if this curriculum is successfully implemented with all stakeholder involvement, it will be a success for this country.
The Assistant Commissioner, Ministry of Education and Sports in charge of instruction materials, Simon Peter Tukey, says this is good development in the country because learners graduate when they can do anything.
The kind of learning which is emphasized in this curriculum is learner-centered. The other old curriculum is teacher-centered, where the teacher is a knower. But here, the learner is supposed to be at the center of learning, so that the child is interacting with the books, with other sources of knowledge in the environment, to be able to develop skills that can help him live in the 21st century.
Teachers from different schools who also attended the training workshop explained that their expectations from this new curriculum are high.
We are now ready to train other teachers in the implementation of this curriculum.
When we interact with the students who have gone through it, they are very grateful, and the S1s are really happy in the way they are being taught.
A learner can be able to create something that can be able to help them earn money. Even when they leave at Senior 3, they will be able to get a certificate from DIT after attempting an assessment of a skills subject.
Nabingo Trinity College students have embraced the curriculum, saying it is so beneficial to them because it enables them acquire knowledge and skills which will help them become job creators.
This new curriculum basically is preparing citizens to be job creators instead of job seekers.
It helps you to develop into whatever career you may like to be.
Now we know that it's something really important, so we end up even developing the interest in beginning cafes or restaurants, and even learning how to cook so many different things.
This particular curriculum was rolled out in 2020 and aims at grounding students in hands-on skills-related pedagogy. Story compiled by Kenneth Tanaba for UBC News.
Seemed like so much fun there. Thank you so much, Kenneth Tanaba. African Rural University has at its 6th convocation graduated 11 specialists during the occasion hosted at its university campus in Kagwa district. African Rural University is unique for it admits only women who offer postgraduate diplomas in rural development, Bachelor of Science in Sustainable Agriculture and Bachelor of Science in Technologies for Rural Transformation. The 6th graduation was officiated by the University Chancellor Justice Ezekiel Mahanguzi and the Vice Chancellor Dr. Mwalimu Musheshe.
I take the pleasure to invite you and welcome you here to witness the 6th graduation of African Rural University. I welcome all of you, and we cannot apologize because of the inconveniences. As you may be aware, it rains.
The African Rural University should always endeavor to produce graduates who are capable of making a contribution to the development of our country. I thank government for giving the private sector an opportunity to contribute towards human resource development through higher education.
Congratulate you again for having put the other pen in the other side and having now the pen of the head. In other words, you don't need books anymore to solve matters. You can have them, you are free, but it means that your head is now your biggest pen. I hope you get me right. Now, you see this hat is a little bit funny. It's not like any hat that we usually wear. It's not a cap, it's not. It has 4 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is the one. This is the east, this is the west, this is north, this is south. That means that what she has got today will be respected globally.
Pupils of Busime Primary School in Busime Sub-County, Busia District have been reportedly missing lessons over the conflict that erupted between teachers and their parents. Parents have been accused of mistreating teachers, claiming that the District Service Commission has refused to give their own children jobs who are also qualified.
Busia district officials have expressed bitterness over local residents who are harassing teachers over job opportunities.
They have reached the extent of even chasing those away
sent to schools. So we are trying to involve all stakeholders, all the parents, know that when they do this to their children who miss. Because as a district and as the teachers, they cannot work in a hostile environment.
Joseph Wafula is a jobless qualified primary teacher volunteering at Busime Seed School since 2015. He claims that his papers are ever removed from the shortlist after applying for a job.
Of recent, Busime is understaffed, but the new teachers who are posted from Iganga, Jinja and Palisa, they don't deliver to the community, they absent themselves. But we community teachers who have volunteered since 2015 up to date, when we apply, our papers are removed from the list and we go missing jobs. My question is it true that teachers who are volunteering at Busime and their community teachers can't deliver the best to the community?
However, the District Education Officer Harriet Mwesigwe says all jobs are given out on merit.
These are opening interviews and whoever merits is the one given. So we have a big task to ensure that we create awareness by all the stakeholders, the local leaders, the technical people, to know that these are government workers and they are supposed to be sent anywhere in the district. And also to know that even when they excel at one time, they will not be posted in the same school where they are born. They will be sent to a different part of the district. So it is our task. We have started to taking them through, and also we request them to appreciate and also be responsive enough, because we need these trained teachers to teach their children.
But Wafula cited that all the 8 qualified teachers who are stuck in the community are constrained by inadequate resources to back up their papers.
This is sometimes political and lack of money, as usual, to push our papers go through. Teachers who are affected with this, we are now 8 at the station. Last recruitment to fill the gap, we applied over 10 teachers, but all of a sudden, we saw teachers from Bugweri, teachers from somewhere else to come and fill the gaps. And we asked ourselves, yes, teachers are here who applied and they have been volunteering. Is this really true to the community?
They now call for government's intervention. This was during a Baraza Community Open Forum by the Office of the Prime Minister at Busime Sub-County, Busia District. I'm Nafka Farida and Joseph Okwo.
Many Ugandans are increasingly carrying out research in traditional herbal medicines. Many of these researchers and dispensations are not recognized and end up administering the herbal concoctions without proper regulation from government. Most of the increasing reports of fraudulent or masqueraders in traditional herbal medicine and selling ineffective herbs to patients are on the rise. The Directorate of Industrial Training, together with the National Drug Authority and National Chemotherapeutic Research Laboratory, has developed a herbalist curriculum to professionalize the traditional healers. Details follow.
A big number of Ugandans take traditional medicine due to its accessibility and effectiveness. But some herbalists mix the herbal concoction without proper formulation, leaving many users guessing on the proper dosage for healing their ailments. However, some innovators have had advances in research into traditional herbal medicine, but there are no special recognition as researchers in traditional medicines. Upon these challenges, government, through the Directorate of Industrial Training in partnership with the National Drug Authority and National Chemotherapeutic Research Laboratory, have developed a curriculum to train researchers in herbal medicine, dispensers and herbal medicine, and planters and conservers of herbal trees.
This curriculum makes them professionals. After being professionals, their legal framework is already in place. Then they go and register with the National Council for their herbal medicine. You cannot register unless if you are certified. Who is to certify you? DIT.
So the non-professionals will be kicked out.
An associate researcher, Presidential Scientific Initiative, Dr. David Seruka advises herbalists to use the knowledge acquired to address some of the pandemics, namely COVID-19, HIV/AIDS, and others.
Some of them fear will take away what I know, so they fear issues of intellectual property rights or patenting. So we can work through with them to help them make sure that their products are not taken away just like that. We can have that protection which is in the law and work through so that their herbals can go beyond just their confines of communities and the country. We want them exported out there.
The training of herbal medicine practitioners will also enhance their capacity to acquire competencies in traditional medicines and national recognition.
Already been in the field, but this package brings a standard of assessing different levels of competence and guiding, sort of fine-tuning, and then crowning that with a certificate.
Uganda is well endowed with flora and fauna, a natural resource that is used to produce most of these medicines we consume on market. Therefore, training the researchers and traditional healers will enable many Ugandans produce medicines for not only local but international markets. Developing an assessment tool and training package for the occupational herbalists could therefore be a timely venture. Irene Faith Nantongo, Henry Muganga, UBC News.
He comes from a country in whose main city of Berlin, a conference was held to petition Africa, something he thinks was not well done. Yet the former ambassador of Germany to Uganda chose to settle in Africa, and Uganda in particular, after his retirement from diplomatic service. Why does Ambassador Klaus Holderbaum love Africa to the extent of settling in one of its countries? Here is our focus on personality this week.
Clad in African wear, the 82-year-old makes way out of his mansion in Chaliwajara with the support of a medical foldable walking aid. It is a situation brought about by what he describes as a faulty pelvic joint that has rendered him physically unfit to some extent. Until the invasion of the coronavirus pandemic, he always visited his home country of Germany for a review of his health condition.
The situation in Germany is so bad concerning the coronavirus infections.
Feeling at home in this COVID-19 pandemic era is a vaccination brought about by Africa's hospitality, a continent whose diversity he truly appreciates.
An insect must have bitten me, which transmitted a disease which is not lethal, not deadly, but uncurable. I have had once the chance, when I gave a lecture at Nkumba University, to have somebody who, and I asked, what sort of disease is that? Yeah? A young gentleman showed up, and I said, well, please, what in your view is this disease? And he said, love for Africa.
Born in 1930 in Germany, Klaus Holderbaum studied and graduated with a law degree, but without interest in legal practice. He joined the German Foreign Service in 1970 as an attaché at the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany in London. Between 1971 and 1974, he was the second and first secretary, legal department and lecturer for public and international law at the School of Diplomacy.
That was part of my training period as a young German diplomat, but it was a fascinating time It was only 8 months, but during these 8 months, I had the chance, the honor, and also the pleasure, I must say, to have attended functions which, many people, or most of the people, are not able to attend.
It is such interest in foreign service that saw him become ambassador outside Germany and Africa in particular. He has since served in Zambia, Ivory Coast, Mali, and Cameroon. Uganda was his last posting, serving between 1999 and 2003.
Uganda is a very beautiful country with a very peaceful and dedicated population, where the German ambassador is welcome with open arms.
In line with the law of Germany, irrespective of the month, civil servants are required to retire on June 30th of the year. They clock 65. His own retirement from diplomatic service was cut short by 5 months. But how did it feel like coming to serve in Uganda and eventually retiring and settling in the Pearl of Africa?
The more I have been here, the more I have learned about the situation, internal situation of Uganda, the more, I must say, so easy it has not been. And it's even now, that I'm here. I must say that I was very fortunate that I have chosen and was helped in that to stay in Uganda.
The man who loves African art, Klaus Holderbaum, has had an opportunity to learn a lot about the African continent. The more reason he settled here.
The history of Africa cannot be understood without knowing these contexts and the even decisions by former colonial powers.
He is, however, concerned that African countries are not at the same level of development, something he partly attributes to different constitutional setups.
Some leaders are more inclined to develop their own countries than others.
Some of these challenges, he says, have a bearing on history that emerged from his own hometown of Berlin. A conference was held and artificial borders were imposed on Africa, something he says is regrettable.
Certainly, a number of disputes which had their cause in this partitioning of Africa at the Berlin Conference. This was something which has certainly been resting on the shoulders of the African countries, which was not very positive.
Since July 2003, he has worked as an independent consultant, advisor, and served as a member of board of directors for various organizations. He is currently a presidential advisor on tourism, trade and industry, a role whose contract, he says, was recently renewed. Henry Okurut, UBC.
No one should stop you from finishing what's yours. That's why MTN gives you data bundles that don't expire. Load MTN Freedom Bundles using My MTN app and enjoy the freedom to finish your data bundles. MTN.
Echa COVID-19 chija kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good.
The government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, invites you to the launch of the Uganda's National Industrial Policy designed to address strategic bottlenecks to industrialization and spur Uganda's growth. The National Industrial Policy will be launched on Tuesday, 4th May 2021 at Serena Hotel in Kampala starting at 8:30 a.m. The launch will be presided over by the Right Honourable Dr. Hakana Rugunda, Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda. This launch will be telecast live on Ubc TV and NBS TV. Attendance is by invitation only. Visit us at www.mtech.go.ug or www.ug.undp.org. You can stream live at mtech_Uganda or at UNDP Uganda.
Introducing Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School, located in Chewando, Chisalusalu, along Bukoto Roundabout, 2 kilometers from Kalere at the Northern Bypass on your way to Chisasi. This is a world-class standard school with the most qualified teachers that will turn your child into a world changer. We have a fully stocked library, a balanced diet for the children, a calm environment suitable for learning, and pocket-friendly school fees. Registration for P1 to P6 is ongoing and second term is starting on 6th April 2021. Call us on 0774 950 277 or 0705 861 262 for more information. Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School. The Lord is my shepherd.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we love, because it's those things that bring us close together.
To UBC News Tonight. In our business stories, the Executive Director, Save for Health Uganda, Frederick Makaire, has advised Ugandans to adopt a saving culture to enable them attain financial independence and economic development. This was during launch of Sulampia's savings scheme held at Kalongo Miti village in Luweero Town Council, Luweero District. Halisubula and Centum have a detailed report on this story.
Efforts to secure savings by rural communities continue to gather pace in Luweero District. This has again been witnessed during the launch of Sulampia Savings Scheme, which targets economic empowerment and development.
I'm sure once we are mobilized into this circle and savings scheme, people will be able to pool the small resources that they have, and then we shall make sure that we come up with projects, income generating projects, which will now benefit each and every member. And I want this scheme or circle to be a big circle in Katikamu North of not less than 500 people. So we want to start with a big circle which will actually generate enough money so that we have projects which can actually attract revenue and income for the different households, and we want to see improvement in their livelihoods.
Members are resolved to start with a premium payment not exceeding 50,000 shillings per sitting, with this circle likely to devolve with membership shares that can be inherited or even sold.
A group can have around 10 millions when one individual is having 8 millions because they have the capacity to save whatever they want. So if the group offers savings and those savings generate some interests, you realize that all the interests are taken up by one individual. So that's always not good. It's good that interests are equally shared amongst people who are saving. Then secondly, it reduces the level of participation. In most cases, those groups are dominated by those who own a lot of money.
They also adopted a resolution to start 2 other separate savings schemes for health and abrupt financial problems.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in to watch UBC News Tonight at 10 p.m. My name is Sharon Kyomugisha with Mugalu, Mohammed in sign language from the team, and I have a lovely night, a great week ahead of you, and just continue being blessed. Good night.
Brought to you by
At Umeme, your safety is our top priority. Report illegal practices to Umeme when you detect them. Download the Umeme app for other services. Stay alert, stay safe, save lives. Umeme, powering Uganda.
A very warm welcome. It is time for the weather forecast from the Weather Center with Semper Alex Kim. We are still having the long rains of March to May. And because of that, we are still seeing a lot of rainfall activities across the country. And this is so because at the moment, the rain belt is quite aligned over our region. And this is much enhanced by the high pressure system over the Indian Ocean masquerading that is also pushing in moist southeasterlies into our region. We do expect to see rainfall activities across our skies in most parts of the country, apart from a few areas like Moroto and parts of Mbarara and Kabale that will have sunny intervals. But well into the afternoon, we do expect a pickup of wet weather activities across most parts of the country, though we do expect it to be quite thundering. That will be across Masindi and parts of Soroti as well as Mbale. Because of this, we do expect temperatures to rise to 30 degrees centigrade will be across Karamoja region, 29 in Arua, whereas the nation's capital Kampala at 28, that will be a little bit cool with the Kabale Highlands at 23 degrees centigrade. And elsewhere across the globe, we are forecasting bright and sunny conditions for Dubai at a daytime high of 37 degrees centigrade. But for New York and London, we do expect some chances of some light isolated rainfall, with London at a daytime high of only 12 degrees centigrade. With that, we wrap it up. Stay tuned and join us again tomorrow sometime.